Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Appreciate all of you and Dat Nation for making today's show a part of your day. On the docket for today's show, going to take a look at the top free agents who the Saints can target following the 2022 NFL Draft, a draft in which I thought the Saints made some really sneakily good signings. But first, I want to hear from all of you in the comments section. Who do you want the Saints to sign in free agency? There was so much draft hype leading into the draft and a little bit after it. Now the focus really shifts towards free agency, and we're going to break down some of these top free agent targets right now. We begin with a notable name and a very obvious name up to this point in the offseason. It's Jarvis Landry. The interest from New Orleans in Landry and Landry's interest in New Orleans has been well documented up to this point. Certainly a lot of pros that come with signing him. He would add another really good element to the Saints offense and give Jameis Winston yet another weapon. Strong veteran presence, would add depth to a position of need. Hopefully Michael Thomas can finally stay healthy. Pretty durable outside of last year, but he still played even though he was really banged up. A very sure-handed wide receiver, and I still think this guy is a viable wide receiver option. Also, he went to LSU. Coming back to New Orleans and Louisiana, it would certainly be litty. Now, you take a look at what he's been able to do over the last 4 years. The production has been great in some seasons, and it's been pretty solid in others. 2018, nearly 1,000 yards receiving. 2019, he's able to surpass 1,000 yard receiving. 1,100 to be exact with 6 touchdowns. 2020, 72 grabs for 840 yards. And then last year, with bad quarterback play with Baker Mayfield and him being banged up, still able to compile 570 yards on 52 catches, 2 touchdowns, which are pretty solid numbers considering everything that happened in Cleveland. We move ahead to the linebacker position as we shift to the other side of the ball. Kwon Alexander. Couple of really good moments with New Orleans throughout his career, of course, and I thought he was able to come off that injury last year and prove himself to be still a viable playmaker, and we're talking about another LSU Tiger. 50 tackles in 2021, 3.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. I thought he was pretty solid in coverage. I liked the athleticism that I saw from Kwon Alexander coming off that severe injury, which really can take a couple of years to come back from, even with today's advancements in medical technology. And you look at the Saints linebacking core right now. Kwon Alexander would add depth to this position group with Pete Werner, Demario Davis, who's still fantastic, as well as Zach Bond. So Kwon Alexander to this linebacking depth chart, I think would add another really good player to this defense, and we know that is going to be a monster focus and the forte for Dennis Allen moving forward, as the former defensive coordinator is now the head coach for New Orleans. So I want to hear from Dat in the comment section right now. You know what Kwon Alexander can bring to the table by now. That much is clear, but should the Saints re-sign him? Let me know down below. R for re-sign or P for pass? Be sure to chime in and you tell me down below. To the running back spot, Darrel Williams. Now, I think the Saints are pretty set at that linebacking spot, but Williams is an intriguing option because of his ability to run in between the tackles, get out to the perimeter, but also be a pass-catching option out of the backfield. Obviously, you want Alvin Kamara to be your bell cow back. Not sure what's going to happen with him legally going into the 2022 season, so maybe you do need some depth at that linebacking position. In 2021, the numbers were pretty solid. 144 carries, 558 yards, 6 touchdowns, average yards per carry, little less than 4. So that's not necessarily ideal, but you know what is ideal? Him posing a different threat to the opposing defense with his ability to catch the football and really make guys miss after the catch. 47 catches for a running back is nothing to scoff at. 452 yards receiving certainly is very, very impressive. 2 touchdowns and an average yards per catch at 9.5. So this guy can impact games in a variety of ways, and I like what he brings to the table. And adding to this running back core of Kamara and a couple of the other guys on this team, especially Melvin Ingram, Mark Ingram, it's a pretty good linebacking unit on the Saints. And for Jameis Winston, Yes, we have seen him throw for 5,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns, but I think the more balanced that this offense is with Kamara, Mark Ingram, maybe you add Williams into the fold, I think the better that the Saints will be here this upcoming season. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel because producer Trace is not only a diehard Saints fan, but also we're pushing out multiple videos per week with the best Saints coverage on the entire internet, and everything 100% free, not behind a paywall, because here at Chat Sports, we ain't stiffs. Interactive videos, #1 Saints draft coverage, as well as free agency coverage during the season, during the offseason. We're cooking up heaters here, and we're trying to get to 6,000 subs. That is our main duty on today's video, to pick up as many subscribers as possible. Little less than 300 people away from 6K. And when you do subscribe, make sure you turn on those notifications. Therefore, anytime we push out a video, you will be notified. You get that push noti, you hop into the video, and we get to talk some Saints football. Could a reunion be on the way with Jimmy Graham? It wasn't great how his previous tenure with New Orleans fizzled out. Jimmy Graham, he is not the player that he once was when he was catching footballs, when Drew Brees was slinging the rock, and last year wasn't really an in-between-the-20s type of tight end. In the red zone, though, was targeted often. I think a lot of that was because Matt Nagy really wanted to target him, but he can still make some plays in the red zone and be a pretty solid player in that red area. Why is that? Former basketball player who is a jump ball threat, isn't quite the athlete that he was, but still does have that size, and he's still a free agent up to this point. 14 catches in the red zone last year with the Bears, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 15 games played. So hasn't really had to deal with a lot of injury issues throughout his NFL career. Could be a decent red zone option and a backup tight end at the very least for New Orleans. Today's sponsor, Fanatics. You want a Chris Olave jersey? You can find one right now, as well as a bunch of other jerseys. Trevor Penning, whole host of other Saints players. If you plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. Not only are the black jerseys available, white jerseys as well, and some of those unique threads too. Chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. Make sure you plug in that link down below, therefore, that Fanatics knows that Chat Sports and Saints now sent you. Bunch of jerseys available for a bunch of different players. Get you hooked up going into the season with some fresh Saints gear. Linval Joseph, defensive tackle. So, again, what's the kind of the theme here that we've been talking about on today's show? We're talking about areas of need, but also trying to round out the roster with some quality depth pieces. That's what Linval Joseph can bring to this Saints defense. A traditional defensive tackle, a good nose tackle, 6'4", 329 pounds. This guy is a straight-up load, and he's been getting it done for a long time in the National Football League. 2021 is pretty solid at that nose tackle, defensive tackle spot for the Chargers. 57 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits as a run stopper and a guy who can occasionally get after the quarterback and at the very least make that impact along that line of scrimmage. He's not going to cost that much money. He can still play, still does have some petrol left in the tank. So among these players, and maybe if you take a look and a gander at that free agency list for guys who have not yet been signed, who is your favorite free agent on this list, but also on the free agency list? I want you to get into the comment section and give me a name or names down below. Who dat? Appreciate you for watching today's show. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get the 6K subs.